is time to make a collage out of a wine label and a couple other things too. But first, how do you get this beautiful image off a glass bottle? I'm going to show you. Heat your oven to about 400 degrees. Place your bottle either on a cookie sheet or something like I have here, a frying pan, and pop it in for about 10 minutes. And then you can take the label off. I'll show you how to do that too. Okay, the timer went off. Make sure you have hand gear because it's going to be hot. Since I'm going to be doing some cooking in a little bit, I may as well get the oven going. And I'll take out my first bottle and a couple other bottles that were sitting on the counter for the past couple of weeks. They just need a couple more minutes. Let's get this over to the sink. I placed the hot pan in the sink just to protect myself. Grab the bottle by the neck, and here's the tricky part. I do need to have a bare hand, while the other hand is protected and holding the neck. Start at a corner, and if it's ready, it should peel off. Here we go. Very slowly. It's still extremely hot. And you don't want to burn yourself. You want the pretty label, but you don't want to burn. Just go slowly because there is the possibility it could rip, but not likely. And this looks like a good pull. Put that hot bottle off to the side. And now you have your very own piece of ephemera, which you're going to place on a piece of wax paper. Smooth it out. And if you're so inclined, rest a few big art books on it to flatten it out. And then it'll be ready to go for collage. And these two look like they're ready to go. And remember, extremely hot. I don't recommend doing this project with your kiddos, unless your kiddos are old enough to handle it. And here's a bottle with a sketch of a DaVinci. How can you not use this in a collage? When I bring the bottle over here, I'm setting it on a wooden surface. You see the steam is coming up. You really want to be careful. However, I do need to remove one of my gloves to remove the label. I'm holding the neck of the bottle with my glove, and I'm going to search very carefully for a corner that I can start peeling. And that looks like we did a good job. Wow, that just came right off, guys. Usually you do some careful peeling, but in this case, DaVinci was with me. When you're all done, bring it over to the wax paper. This doesn't have a lot of adhesive on it. In fact, there's no adhesive. It just stayed on the bottle. Usually you'll have adhesive and it'll allow you to stick it to the wax paper. We'll put it there anyway for now until we're ready to use it. Our labels ready to go until I'm ready to use them. I'm going to flatten them for a few moments. What I like to do is either fold the paper over or add another piece of wax paper to protect the label from the book. The reason being, they're still kind of warm. You don't want that adhesive to stick to your books and possibly lose portions of the image. So I like to put on a protective layer of wax paper before I put my books on it. We all benefit from obscure magazines and books that we collect. Either we get them for free, we find them in our travels, or we spend a little bit of money on them. That's what I love so much about collage. I also love the fact you aren't limited to books and magazines, travel brochures, or anything really that really involves paper. It's really, the world is open to you when you work with collage. And that's why I felt like working with my wine labels today. I have a little collection growing, and as you saw at the beginning of this video, we are working with some wine labels that are the possible focal point. The wine labels normally do turn into the focal point in my work when I utilize them for collage. I was very excited about the wine labels we got this morning. I love this one. Whether or not I use it today, I'm not sure. I like this one for the color and also for this gilded look. That might be a nice border. And of course, this one, I thought I may want to use this for a focal point. Just, I'm not sure yet. I've had this one for a minute. This little sheep, super cute. I took off the back as well. The color is wonderful, and also even the texture, it's almost like material, like a threaded material. I have these other ones that also can serve as focal points or just design elements. And I have used this one before. I think I know which collage. It's been several collages ago that I did. I think I know which one. I'll post it here. I just can't remember the name off the top of my head. So I have a lot of options. Now, I also have this Kleenex box, and you probably remember the Collage Mosaic, which was created from a Kleenex box also. I love this design, and I think I can make an interesting stencil out of it. So this Kleenex box may prove beneficial for this collage today. I also have my trusty mailers. Mailers often provide a wonderful source of material. I'll go through these and see if there's anything in there that I can use. Another piece of ephemera that I have used before, but sparingly, only because I just don't think about it much, are the insides of security envelopes. And I got this idea from Mia Bloom Designs here on YouTube. I will put a link to Mia's channel in the description. But I love what she did with security envelopes also. Then I was super excited when I was opening the dreaded mail and I saw that one of the security envelopes was red. I haven't seen this for a minute, so I was very excited and thought I can make something out of this. I believe I can anyway. This has a different style to it with the lines. So I don't get that much mail any longer because I do a lot of stuff online. But now if I get my mail, when I get the mailers or I get a security envelope, I am thinking collage, collage, collage. It's just a little something that will give your work, oh, I really tore this apart. It'll give your work something else to do, something else to focus on. Oh, I may as well just tear this thing apart. Here we go. Nice. And then in my travels, I found this. It's this little pen. And I was at work, actually. I was taking a walk at work, and I saw this, and I just grabbed it. And I thought I could totally use this in a collage. I just have to get rid of the pen. I put a eraser there to protect myself because I know me, I might hurt myself with my ephemera. So I don't know if this little guy is going to make it in today's collage. Maybe, maybe not. It's certainly worth a try. It's usually, this type of ephemera, I would use a substrate like wood or something very sturdy because I don't think it'll last on paper. I may just scan it. I'll think about it. But he's inspiring me. I don't know why. I love cacti and I love when they bloom. That's exactly what this is. So thank you, whoever you are that put it off to the side, because they actually put it off onto a wall and I found it and I cleaned it up when I got back to my desk. Anyway, here we are. I got my envelopes going and I think I'm going to go through this mailer and see what I can find. The wine labels are fairly durable. I did a cut with this one and it's beautiful. That's almost has like a leather quality about it. So I'm going to hang on to this little strip. You never know what you might come up with later if you want to make a pattern type of collage. So I'm going to keep it with its original label. And I'm keeping the wax paper on this until I'm ready to use it, because on this particular label, there was a good deal of adhesive that remained. You can utilize that when you are working with the collage. So now I've created something of a sticker, and that makes me happy. And I just, I loved this portion of the design, so that's what I'm thinking of. And remember, this one, the adhesive just stayed on the bottle. This is beautiful. I mean, there's no stickiness, no tackiness whatsoever. And I just love this look, and I love the background also. And again, beautiful gilded edges, and you can't go wrong with something like that. So let's go through what we do have. Our little cactus friend, of course. I grabbed anything that looks interesting to me. These folks, this couple, they may be winning out in terms of being a focal point, which means my orange gal here, she may not be in this collage. I don't know. I was thinking this couple, take them out of this background and maybe put this DaVinci head like in between, looking it down or whatever they're looking at, but change maybe what they're looking at. That might be interesting also. I have this absolutely wonderful design element. Whether or not it makes it, I don't know. But again, that green is gorgeous. You can do something with that. Doesn't necessarily have to be tossed. I do that a lot though. I usually end up tossing my remnants. But I'm thinking about doing collages that are made solely from scraps of other collages. I love the stars on this prophecy bottle. I have used them before. I might use them again in this piece. I may not use our gal. She's gorgeous and I have used her before, which I mentioned earlier, but I probably won't use her in this piece. So I'm going to put her off to the side as an element of design in the background. This is a great image. I love the color. I love the expression. I'm not sure if it's going to make it in this collage because this is a focal point in and of itself. And she's already like a collage with the trash elements. It was really great design. I love this kind of work. It inspires me, this kind of stuff. And I grabbed some bowls of food. They just look yummy. I'm a big pasta person and I do love strawberries. So this possibly will make an appearance, as well as these flowers and this little bit of water. Is this all I'm going to work with? I am not sure yet. Oh, this gent, he's great. And he would make a great focal point too. So this is where I'm at with focal points today. So this is probably going to be a small-ish collage. I think I have enough to see. Once I understand what my focal point is, the rest is usually a lot easier to deal with. A note about this. Great illustration. I think this kind of work does inspire people because there's a simplicity about it. It is highly designed though, and I'm not crazy about the design, but I'm glad we have this kind of design work out there because art feels possible to everybody. There's a childlike quality about this, a folkish type quality that I don't want to ignore. That's why I grabbed it, put it off to the side. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it today. Probably not. Put it off to the side. But something that inspires. And then, of course, we have the security envelopes. And while I was sifting through my wine label collection, I also have pasta bottles. I have used this Venus in other collages. I don't believe I'm going to be using it today, but I will set that off to the side. Maybe have some, Botticelli mixed with DaVinci. I don't know. This is what I found when I was going through my ephemera, through my my wine labels. And I start thinking when I see something like this, my mind goes to, well, I can keep these for other collages. I like this. This is kind of cool too. But what I want to do, and it's a lot of fussy cutting, but I feel like I want to do fussy cutting today. You want to cut out these elements and work with that. So I would just keep the white, the pillars, and the roof I don't know, the sculptural roof ceiling and work with that. That's where my thinking's going, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. Let's talk for a minute. So I did not too much fussy cutting on this potential focal point, just enough to give me an idea if this crazy cutting that I did will fit here. And I made a lot of command decisions as I was cutting because I deviated from what I originally wanted to do, and now I think I may want to deviate even more and take these pillars out. I'm kind of afraid to, but I think they're kind of taking away from what I want to do. I think I'm just going to do it. I just want the art design. By the way, from what I could see on the magazine caption, this is from the Miami Art Museum, which I haven't been to yet. If you have, let me know in the comments, because one day I must go here. In the meantime, I am just deconstructing the Miami Art Museum, if that's indeed what it is. Only because I believe in invading space when I am working with composition. We don't really need all the extraneous pillars and such because it's going to be an absurd environment. So I may as well just cut away things that don't really belong. So that's really minimized it even more. And I'm glad. And this stuff is, I don't think I really need it. So I am actually just going to toss it off to the side. But what's going to be important, because this is going to be part of the background. And what I love is that our gentleman here, looks like he could be standing on this using portions of it for support. Yeah, just like that, actually. So it's an interesting backdrop, but I'll need another backdrop for that, which could come in the form of my security. I want to say security blanket. I don't know. Something like this, maybe. Something like that, possibly. There's not a lot of contrast. Let's grab this one. I'm so in love with, a little bit more. We kind of lose this white. Let's try blue. Don't have a lot of blue. Possibly again, I don't know. Yeah, we're losing the white of the statue with these. Put those off to the side. Definitely not tossing anything yet. And this also gives us opportunity to think about the other focal points we have. Now, I was thinking about using this DaVinci image. I was going to cut her out like a circular image to make her look more celestial, perhaps. Still possible. Let me grab our original focal point idea, which was our orange gal. How will she work here? I'm just going to do a rough cut of her. Something else to bear in mind, I used a lot of wax paper on these bottles. There's nothing wrong with that because you can really reuse wax paper as much as you want. I'm just going to cut her out. I'm going to keep the backing. You can reuse the wax paper because, for example, here, the label is still here, and I can peel it up. The wax paper is still good. It doesn't have any adhesive on it, and you can use it you can stretch it. You can use it again for a wine label. You can return a label to it. I can just put it right back because it's still really tacky. So just something to bear in mind. You don't have to just toss it. You can use it for something else. If you need a little glue palette, this will work. So I'm going to look at her now. How does she look here? If I cut her out, and there's a lot of fussy cutting going on here, she'll probably fit okay. And then maybe she would also look good by herself on here. And I wouldn't even need this. You see, we go into different directions as we're working. Then there's this water. So I cut this from the mailer. So here is another possibility for actually a totally different collage. Add this, too much of a focal point. I only want one focal point. and she would be a very small focal point. What also might be interesting is, since she has kind of like this foodie flair about her, is having her coming out of this bowl of pasta. So many ideas. And that's completely deviating away from what we were originally going for. I like this. I think this might work, but I think she needs a little bit more than just this. There needs to be just a touch more. Do I have anything in my bag of goodies here? I'm not seeing anything. I like the fruit also. I have this. I don't want to overdo it too much with the wine labels in one collage unless there are many different elements going on. So I am going to set these pieces off to the side. They may just be their own collage another time. Let's go back to this. So I think, and I need to do even more fussy cutting because like right along here I see those edges and I want to fix them. So I'll come in and just take the edge off. It's going to make it a little more delicate. Delicate is good. If you can do a delicate cut, it can look really nice. And do that here. So this is the trouble I run into, and it's not a terrible problem, but I need to decide what I want to do in terms of a background, because a background will be very necessary here, and that's because we have a white surface, and it will benefit from something that'll really make it pop out. I can also do that in Photoshop if I'm so inclined. I have these pieces. These could act as backdrops, so I'm grabbing from my scraps. I don't know. It's not super interesting to me, so I'm not sure, and they're not popping out too much. I may need to resort to, here's a National Geographic, and go through the imagery in here, maybe find a really interesting background that's going to contrast well with that white. So I need a background that is going to be very colorful, powerful, but not take away from my focal point. So let's go ahead and get to searching again. I removed some backgrounds that I thought would generate great interest and also had a lot of color to them. This one doesn't have too much color, but I love the sketch idea because these subjects look like they are doing something architectural, and that might be a nice balance for it, but looking at it, I'm not seeing a lot of contrast. So I will use this, of course, in another collage, but I want to use this. I may be falling in love with this, and that's a problem. I want to use this in today's collage. So this one is going to have to go off for another day. I really liked this because I love the look of the Jeep emblem, and also I can turn it upside down, and that really creates a lot of contrast. So I am pleased with this. This is definitely in the running. I also love this wonderful green background. Very natural, contrasting with elements that are obviously man-made. The only thing I have a problem with is her shoes are very dark, so they kind of melt into that dark green, but we can always turn things upside down, which often makes things very interesting when you do that. Turn your stuff upside down. Collage is absurd, and you'd be surprised what you do when you tilt things or you rearrange them in a way they're not necessarily supposed to go. So this is a big maybe. I'm just going to go ahead and separate it from the picture below, which I could use in another collage. And then I chose this one. We have faces going on, and also that red is gorgeous. The faces, when I was playing with it, were peering through the sculptural element, which I thought could generate some interest, if that's what works. I don't know. It's not the focal point. Backgrounds are important, but they're not the focal point. They're supporting your focal point, so it's something to bear in mind. They can go this way. Again, very interesting, because we have people on the side here. And it's a great color. You cannot deny that. I'll need to finish cutting her out. So those are the things I think about when I am working. This is going to be not quite a minimal, but I'm not going to use too much ephemera for this one. Yeah, I got some fussy cutting I'm going to need to do there. And like I said, I might be falling in love with this structural element, and that's not always a good thing because it can mess you up. But we can always cut it. We can do whatever with it. Might be better this way. I don't know. It kind of goes with my focal points. So I really want to keep them together. So not sure. Okay, I want to look again at my Jeep, because that was the one I was most excited about. I'm going to just go ahead and pare it down a bit. We do not need the text. I don't want the text. I am just like, some collage artists really do wonders with text. And I used to feel that you need to have some text in collage. That was sort of my mantra when I started working with collage. I don't agree with that as much anymore. It isn't necessary. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Although I can clean it up in Photoshop. I can crop it in Photoshop. The edge is a little messy, but I can crop it in Photoshop and we'll be fine. So this is where I was headed. Definitely putting it upside down. Let me try it right side up. Yeah. I like the way the headlights are peeking through. And I like the way this is fitting. It's kind of fitting together in such a way that it's making me happy. Okay. I'm going to cut this more of a straight edge so it can go right up against that red line. Not too much. Nice straight cut. And I may need to do a little bit more fussy cutting here. Plus, I will probably going to be removing that. Okay. And then I liked the way he was standing. This poor gal. I'm going to make sure she's standing on a red line so she pops out a little bit more. And I just need to do a lot more fussy cutting. Okay, then there was the green. Let's just play with that for a second so we can see what our options are before we move on and start making commitments. Oh yeah, so we did already look at this green. I was just upset because the boots were a little dark. I won't throw it out, obviously, but I will put it off to the side. I was excited about this red, but I don't think it's going to make it into this collage this week. This is definitely getting close. I am headed in this direction. This background, these focal points. I liked this also. I just may be going overboard trying to put it in. And then I wanted this. Okay, so the next question is, I wanted to cut this out in a perfect circle. And I can do that, I think, with a hole puncher. So let's go back to Timelapse. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to play with this for a second. This water. Do I want this water? This might be kind of interesting to help with her dark boots. I might do that. Okay, let's get back to Timelapse. Coming into the home stretch, I think, with this one. Love my trusty little hole punch that I got from Creative Memories many moons ago, at least 20 to 25 years ago, and I still use it for just these types of projects. However, you got to be careful with this kind of element because you can overdo it. A little bit can go a long way to the point where I'm thinking maybe just the red security backgrounds and of course our DaVinci, because that kind of turns into the focal point. But then there's not a lot going on down here, so that's where it might come in handy, floating around in space. So we are using that black background a little bit more. The red is nice because it makes that come out, and we have these interesting colors going on that I think will help this composition. And I'm wondering too about, do I need to put something here? And this may be where text would come in handy. Oh my gosh, look. So the name of one of the wines that I used for the labels is called Menage a Trois. And here we have 3 things. Oh my gosh. This is where my mind goes. So, let's give it a try. It's too long. I don't know. Maybe. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't know about this. But you know what? I'm just going to play with it for a second. Because then we'll have the name of our... no, it's too long. But trois, maybe? Let me just cut all of this out. I feel like I need something on the computer screen. How about à trois? I don't know what that means. I mean, I understand the French terminology. It's still a little bit, but trois almost works. À trois. No. But some sort of text might be really good here. I'm gonna review my wine labels. I have DaVinci. And I love this gold. I wonder if I can somehow incorporate this gold line in here. I really love this. Let's see. I'll just cut this off. Lovely. I feel like I spent a lot of money and didn't. Yeah, that's beautiful. Maybe too much. I do not want to overdo anything. Or remember I said I really loved these stars. So maybe a star on there. Don't want to overdo it. This can get a little too much. Maybe a star that isn't as brass as the other ones. Okay, and I'm just gonna gently cut it out because I can do the fussy cutting later on if I decide I want to go with that. I'm not gonna do the fussy cutting right now. Maybe just put it like right there. That might work. Yeah, I think I might do that. And maybe bring this down here underneath this couple. The title is coming to me as they normally do as I'm working, and the title here would be COLLAB, collaboration. So, okay. I am going to do some fussy cutting and get right back at you. Finishing up with this little collage, not a minimal, but definitely along those lines. And I did a couple of changes to the original focal point, nothing crazy. Also, I am using Mod Podge glue here to adhere the white sculptural element. And you don't have to use a lot. I'm just going to put that out there. You don't have to use gobs and gobs of glue unless you really need to adhere it because you're going to have it in a gallery show or you're going to sell it. I am putting just a little bit of glue on here, just enough for adhesion. That will limit any type of warping that might go on because, as you all know, I really love using packing tape. I also used it on the back of the wine label. And it doesn't cause any of that bubbling. Which is something that I struggle with. I think that's why I love working with the packing tape so much. I also applied glue to this wine label, DaVinci, piece that I absolutely fell in love with. So this is on here. I can go ahead and remove these little bits of tape, but if something moves around, that's okay, because off camera I took a picture of it on my phone, so I can use that as a reference to come back to it. So here are my focal point couple. I took out that computer. Remember, I wanted to put some type of text on there, and I wasn't, well, you saw where I went with that. But I went ahead and I stole the stars from that other piece. So that other wine label, the Prophecy wine label, as you can see, we've diminished the stars. We've harvested the stars. And I am liking the way this is appearing. Here are my focal point. Well, there's a couple focal points going on here. And that's not a bad thing, because one focal point is stronger than the other. This is great because it looks like he's sitting. So that's where I want him to stay. She's looking okay. I'm going to come back with some of my circles to punch things out a little bit. My security envelope circles. Those are going to help punch out her darkness. So I am again coming back with the Mod Podge, not a ton, just enough to adhere for the scan so I can post it. So I'm just gonna put a little bit where he is. And you can still shift it around a little bit, Mod Podge. It allows you to do that, which I'm gonna need to do because I don't want her to move so much. Oh, okay, there we go, much better. Put a little bit more here, and again, not too much. We don't want any bubbling. The nice thing about these mailers, they're tough. The paper, this is not flimsy paper. So I was really pleased with that. Good images, great photography, and strong tensile strength with the images. Okay. I love the gold. I'm going to add it anyway. The gold maybe a little bit over the edge because it is putting lots going on. But we have gold in the stars, and it did come originally from this wine label, from the DaVinci wine label. So I'm using it up. Very nice gilded gold. And I'm going to place it, the other piece here, again, offering balance and just kind of drawing everything in. So this also helps with the darkness issue I had. I may go ahead and cut that. I'm not sure. I'll see. I may trim things down just a little bit, probably in Photoshop. Okay. I also, like I said, I stole stars. I steal stars. And I want to put them like around here. If that's the case, I probably don't need my security envelope circles, do I? Let me think about that. I may, walk away from this for a little while and come back and see how I feel. We have it overlap a little bit here, just a little bit. I don't want this to get too heavy. I don't want too much going on here. Now I feel like there may be too much going on. I was struggling with that when I was building it. So I was going to put a security envelope here and then maybe one here. Maybe the blue would look better. But now I think that's getting too busy. So let me take those out. I think it's a little too busy. And I even thought it was maybe a little too busy putting a star here. I could put a star like right here, kind of coming out from behind her head. Possible. Or I can cut another small star. That was a lot of fussy cutting, by the way. It's almost too much, I feel. I don't know where to put the other star. Do I need another star? So you've got this gold here. I just wanted to balance it out. We could do something like this, and then I just cut it out of the image. I just crop most of the other radial. I don't know. And I feel that here I go again. I was doing this off camera, playing with these circles, guys, and I was like kind of making myself just a touch crazy. I'm going to leave it alone for now, and I'm going to come back to it, and I will either share that with you or we will just go to the final image, and I will see. So I'm going to do some more, just a touch more cutting and a little bit more thinking. Oh yes, really quick. That menage a trois label, when I said that had that nice leathery surface, so I cut another circle out and now it's supporting this because the computer, you can barely see the computer right there. I'm not going to worry about that. This just looks more interesting to me. I think there's just a more interesting balance, so I'm pleased with that. So let me take a step away and see how I feel about it in a little bit. I hope I didn't overdo it, compositionally speaking, because I talk so much about composition and I hope I'm not misleading anybody. So I kind of went a little crazy with the stars. And sometimes I do that because I just don't know what else to do with pattern elements, like I was planning on doing with those security envelopes. They didn't make it into this collage. I talked about them. I wanted to use them. They didn't win. And that's fine because I want to have options when I am working because I feel I have more fun when I have options and I just feel the compositions come out better. And in terms of composition, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. So that keeps the idea of odd numbers usually work better with composition. She could also be considered like number 6 in terms of this pattern, but she's kind of her own element, our DaVinci lady, and she is also part of the focal point. I really like how this turned out. I'm very, very happy with that. I think with just the computer, it just would have been kind of boring. And I like the way he seated. I like the way the sculpture worked out. So by no means is this a minimal collage. We used a lot of material. We used material from National Geographic, 3 wine labels. Remember, this background is from a wine label, a mailer, and a magazine. I had to break down and use a magazine. I wasn't planning on doing that. I wanted to not use a magazine, but you know, what are you going to do? How about our cactus? Shall we put the cactus in here? I am so kidding. A cactus is beautiful and is going to be in its own collage in the future or somewhere, somehow. I'll hang on to these guys because they were a lot of fun and they helped me. They were tools in this process. So just because you don't use ephemera, have it out anyway because it will inspire you and it'll help you move on and make decisions. They just were going to make things too busy. I don't think it looks busy. I like the way it turned out. I am pleased with the piece. Collaboration. I'll give you guys a closer look and I'd love to know what you think, thinking about the process and composition when we are dealing with collage. I thank you for joining me on this collage journey. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you next week.